Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me today here at Pebble Beach to check out the craziest and newest hypercars in the world. We're talking the likes of the Hennessey Venom F5 Roadster revving in the background, Koenigsegg's marvellous CC850. We've got this crazy coloured Porsche Taycan, the likes of Bentley's Batur from Mulliner. We're going to be taking a good look at the new DEUS Vayanne, the most powerful production car announced to date. We'll head into the stands of Ferrari and all the cars on the lawn, Aston Martin with the DBR22, Valkyrie and Valhalla. We'll check out the McLaren Solus GT. There's so much around us here to go and explore. All of the newest hypercars are here on the concept lawn at Pebble Beach. Let's go take a look around. Let's start right here with the new Koenigsegg CC850. This is a particularly special car that has made its debut here because it is both, get this, a manual and an automatic. It arrives at the 20th anniversary of Koenigsegg's first ever production car, the CC8S, back in 2002, but based on completely modern technology. Back here we have the 5-litre twin turbocharged V8, which makes 1,385 horsepower in the car that weighs only 1,385 kilo. The true one-to-one power-to-weight ratio, the roof that can be stowed away up front, styling that is very much familiar along the themes of the original CC8S, but modernized as well. There are only going to be 50 of them, and to show you this a little bit more, it's very clever technology behind the Koenigsegg ESS gearbox. We've got that Swedish flag on the top of the wooden knob, just like the original cars, but the way that works would probably need Christian himself to explain it in full detail. What a spectacular thing to see being launched. We have to talk about this as well. This crazy Porsche Taycan from the artist Sean Wotherspoon. Every single panel is in a completely different colour, very much I think inspired by the VW Polo Harlequin, but come and have a look inside as well. Even the leather trims, the seats and the materials, the dashboard and the A-pillars are all made from cork. I have never seen that before in my life. Completely bizarre. The Bentley Batur comes from Mulliner, their exclusive division, a modern take on coach building with only 18 cars to be produced in total. The most powerful Bentley to date with 740 horsepower, arguably a last hurrah for that 6-litre twin turbocharged W12 engine with design language that very much gives us an insight into the future of Bentley Motors and for their first full battery electric vehicle due to arrive in only a matter of years. This follows from Bacalar, in this case being named after Lake Batur in Bali, Indonesia, but it's fantastic to see that new design language on such a special and rare car. Meet the world's most powerful convertible, Hennessey's Venom F5 Roadster. Following on the formula of the Venom F5 Coupe, they have removed the roof due to customer demand, but it still maintains the same underpinnings. The Fury engine that boasts 1,817 horsepower. Also following customer demand, a new window through to the engine bay to see that 6.6-litre twin turbocharged V8 with this full carbon fibre surround, these milled openings where you can see the gold heat shielding, and those openings mimic those that you find around the rest of the bodywork. Even the aluminium piece here, for example, represents the same design that you see down there. The roof panel itself is a carbon fibre Targa piece that weighs only 8 kilograms that you remove and leave on a bespoke bracket that's supplied with the car to keep that back at home. This car made its debut here, the blue car with the red pinstripes and details, but a very fast machine. As I said, the world's most powerful open-topped supercar, hypercar, megacar. That is the sound of fury in a nutshell from the Venom F5. This is the DEUS Vayanne, which is the world's most powerful production car that has been introduced to date with over 2,200 horsepower. Yes, you heard that correctly. That power coming from 3 electric motors. But what's fascinating to me is the way the Vayanne introduces emotion through the sound that it makes. Now, I'm going to be taking a seat on board in just a moment to demonstrate this experience, to share it with you and to explain a little bit more. DEUS automobiles are based in Austria, and the name Vayanne links to the capital city Vienna, a beautiful timeless location, and the design of the car incorporates symmetry and also infinity. I'll demonstrate some of those elements in a moment, but they've teamed up with some fantastic partners to help with the Vayanne project, including Ital Design, part of the Volkswagen Group, to help with the manufacturing and production processes, but also Williams Advanced Engineering, who have a fair bit of experience when it comes to electric powertrains, including Formula E, Extreme E, and the new LMDh series space as well. The Vayanne is powered by the 3 electric motors. You find 2 at the back and 1 up front, plus an 85 kilowatt-hour battery pack positioned just behind the occupants. You could drive it under just the front electric motor for more efficiency, or under all 3 motors if you'd like maximum attack. And when I say maximum attack, it will do 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, that's 62 miles per hour, in under 2 seconds, in just 1.99 seconds, and go to a top speed of 400 kilometers an hour, 248 miles per hour. To talk a bit more about the design, I mentioned infinity, and you'll start to spot these infinity loops that wrap around the grills front and rear. We have symmetry in the sense of both the openings at the front and also over towards the back. The infinity loop, rear and also front. Everything has a counterpart. The 2 vents, for example, the line that runs along the door and around that vent, and also the line that wraps over the rear wheel arch. Around towards the front, we have this parametric design for the grille itself to enable the openings for cooling and for the thermal management. That's obviously where Williams Advanced Engineering come in. But I want to pop round, show you towards the very back of the car, where you have again this infinity loop tail light that wraps around, encompassing the entirety of the rear of the Vayanne. Before we come over to have a look inside, pop open the door, just pull this open, and we're greeted by their very, very smart interior. The idea is a livable car, a usable car. There will only be 99 Vayannes produced in total at a price tag of around 2.5 to 2.75 million euros. I'm going to take a seat just inside here carefully, because this is their production development car that we're obviously taking a look at. We have some very clever functionality, but the first thing I'm going to do is show you what I was saying about the sound. Foot on the brake and a press of the start button, and have a listen to that. Each of the cars can have their completely unique own soundtracks, but we actually have this quite powerful noise encompassing us, as well as these details that you can see through the panels that wrap around as well. These illuminated LED panels, also with mirrors and some very, very clever technology. But if I just give it a little, let's say, blip of the throttle, you can hear the sound that this car makes. That is totally unusual, and you can only imagine what that would be like driving with it. To be able to have a connection to the car that we're familiar with from the internal combustion engine, but in this case, through the noise, and I'm going to hear it from the outside as well as I step out, that it makes when you, well, quite literally rev the electric motors. So like I mentioned, you could drive on just the front motor, or you could drive on just the rear motors if you'd like to have a little bit of fun. Look at the door hinge that we have in there with the DEUS logo positioned. But as I step out as well, we have the soft closed doors just to gently shut those into place. You can hear it, you can feel it. It's bringing emotion into an EV, into a timeless machine. And it's been wonderful actually to see this and to be able to learn a little bit about the DEUS Vayanne. We're looking here at one of the test cars of the new Lamborghini Urus Performante, which has also just launched, the update to their super SUV. We can see some changes to the bodywork around here, this kink at the front, that blade that cuts up as well. It's also provided on Trofeo R semi-slick tyres. It's lower, we've got these new carbon fibre parts, a touch more power. If we come towards the back, there's also a spoiler up at the top and the lip that we have there on the boot lid. The Performante, following the name obviously used on the Huracan and the Gallardo before that, as it happens, but now also on the Urus if you needed your SUV to be even more of a supercar. Here at the Aston Martin booth, we have a few cars to take a look at, including this, the new DBR22, which has made its world debut out here, plus the V12 Vantage Roadster, the Valkyrie AMR Pro, and the interior of the Valhalla. But this very much follows in the footsteps of the V12 Speedster that we saw before, exclusively in very limited numbers. This is a design study for the car, but expect low double digits in terms of the production run. I like what they've done in terms of introducing headlights that are style akin to those found on the Valkyrie and the Valhalla. It links back and pays tribute to the DBR1 and some of Aston Martin's open speedster race cars of old. Inside you've got this wraparound glass windows to an effect for that open Barchetta driving experience, but the design and the styling of this is actually fabulous. You've got one single carbon fibre clam over the entirety of the rear of the car. Everything from the doors back, around the rear, over these buttresses is one single carbon fibre body piece. This long full width tail lamp that wraps around the central exhaust tailpipes for the V12 engine that will power this. Looking forward to seeing all of the details and finding out a bit more about it as well in the not too distant future. Have a little glimpse inside the DBR22. As I said, it's made its debut here at Pebble Beach. On to another debut here, a car I've been looking forward to seeing, in fact, the new V12 Vantage Roadster. So the V12 Vantage Coupe launched not all that long ago. The Roadster was certainly expected, following straight in the footsteps, incorporating the folding soft top roof, but limited to just 249 units in total. You've got the front engine, you've got the rear driven setup, you've got a car that no doubt will be fabulous to drive. Limited edition Vantages are right up my street, and this car, in this colour scheme, looks fabulous. This new look at the front end, there are multiple different ways you can spec the car. You can have the exposed carbon sections up here as opposed to the full body colour. You can obviously have the more aggressive aero and styling of it. You've got the carbon bucket seats in the Vantage Roadster. A very, very nice thing that, again, as I said, has made its debut out here at Monterey Car Week. This is really quite exciting to see. The Aston Martin Valhalla, the baby Valkyrie, we could almost call it, Aston Martin's newest hypercar. And for the first time, we can see the interior, or at least a concept for the interior and what this is going to be like. Look at that steering wheel, the squared shape of the steering wheel, but notably the seats are part of the carbon fibre monocoque. You are sat with your ankles above your bum on the side here, but with the obviously padding and setup, as you can see right overhead, that snorkel for a fabulous induction sound that you will hear through to the flat plane crank twin turbocharged V8 plus hybrid system that this has for 900 or so horsepower in total, with the dihedral doors open high as they are at the moment. If we come around towards the back just to take a quick look at some of the aero and shapes back here, you've got this wing obviously fixed across the bodywork. You've got these massive diffuser tunnels going on beneath the back. This is going to be a fabulous car. Honestly, I'm really excited to find out more about it when it enters full production. We can see more of it presented in this absolutely crazy colour scheme as well, this flip iridescent paintwork, as you can see on it, and that styling that really is the new face of Aston Martin for their supercars. It is also fantastic for me to be reunited with this, the Valkyrie AMR Pro. This is the exact car I actually rode in at Laguna Seca, the ride of my life. Completely rewrote my understanding of a fast car with cornering at 3.2G. They're making 40 plus the 2 prototypes of the Valkyrie AMR Pro, the ultimate in aerodynamics and racetrack performance, just unreal in every possible way. This is McLaren's new Solus GT. The debut of this was just a matter of days ago, presented out here again during Car Week. Solus GT, because it is a solo vehicle. You sit in the center with this canopy that slides forward and off. GT, because it was originally conceived as a concept for the Vision Gran Turismo series to play with in the Gran Turismo video games, except they brought it to reality. Only 25 cars to be made, $4 million a car. It is the most fantastic thing in terms of the aero. It weighs just 1,000 kilos, has 1,200 kilos of downforce. We've got a V10, a 5.2 litre naturally aspirated V10 making 840 horsepower. But just look at this thing. Look at the crazy design, the crazy aero, that massive rear wing, the exhaust pipes right in the center. And just imagine what it would be like to be driving this, sat right in the center of it. Look at all of these cutaways. The aero is just bonkers on this. The Solus GT, presented out here at Car Week from McLaren. A few words quickly then about the fantastic Ferrari lawn and display here at Pebble Beach. The most incredible lineup, starting here with the LaFerrari Aperta, one of just over 200, the F60 America, one of only 10, the FXXK Evo, we have the Monza SP2 just there. If we come around this way, the SA Aperta, effectively the convertible 599 GTO, the 575 Super America, basically everything that you could imagine seeing. We have a 1 of 6 Pininfarina Sergio just over that way, the Hypers, the F50, the F40, we've got the 288 GTO just there, we have the Ferrari Enzo just on this side. It continues with everything, cars from motorsport, cars from the road, cars from just about everything, F1 cars, you name it, all part of this Ferrari display. While I am primarily focusing on the new cars, it would be remiss of me not to take a look at the 250 GTO, arguably one of the finest automobiles of all time, with a value of $60–70 million, you name it, and there is one parked just here. That is Ferrari from the 60s at its finest. The modern lineup of Ferraris consists of the 812 Competizione SF90, we've got the 296 GTS, we've got the 296 GTB and the SF90 Spider over towards that side, but the 812 Competiziones are going to be fantastic. I can't wait to get behind the wheel of one of them to try it out, hopefully before too long. Next we have the Ferrari Daytona SP3, the second of the Icona series after the Monza. They're making 600 of them in total, and you have the removable Targa roof panel. I think this is the first time I've seen one with the roof in place, but of course you can take that off to enjoy the full glory of the naturally aspirated V12 and everything this is about. The Icona cars linking back in their design to heritage Ferraris of different eras, hence the Daytona and the SP3 designation that we have with this. I cannot wait at some point to try one of those out. We're looking at the Code 57, of which only 9 will be produced, Japanese coach building based around a 6-litre naturally aspirated V12 that produces 620 horsepower. We have the Banzai doors opened up at the moment and a gated 6-speed manual shifter. This cutaway is where the name comes from, like that of the 57 Testarossa, hence the link through to this very car. We've got the floating tail lights as well as part of the design, a Grand Touring Berlinetta you could say, but with a roof that is removable. This full roof panel can actually be detached to drive and enjoy open to the elements. Another new introduction here is the Czinger 21C Vmax derivative. Now Czinger will be making 80 cars in total, and the customers will be able to choose whether they go for the downforce variant, the blue car that we've seen before, or this, the new Vmax iteration. It features the same powertrain, so you have the 2.88 litre twin turbocharged V8, the full hybrid setup for a total of 1,233 horsepower, while keeping weight to an absolute minimum, maintaining that tandem seating position where you have the driver sat right up in front of the passenger with that central seating position. And I've been lucky to drive one of these before now, which was a fascinating experience. The Vmax car, as you can see, has this elongated rear, slipperier bodywork, gone is the rear wing, in its place this much smoother rear deck to help with aerodynamics and drag coefficients, even with these carbon blades that you have over the front of the wheels to keep it as slippery as possible through the air. You can see some of the mechanisms for the dihedral doors, this extended long door that flies up into the air and around towards the back. We still have all of the openings through the carbon fibre that you can see, all part of this fabulous feat of engineering. DeLorean are back. This is the new Alpha5, based around those famous gull-wing doors from the car of 4 decades ago, the DMC-12. Obviously this being based on the latest technology with an EV setup, a battery pack, skateboard style that sits down towards the bottom, but these gigantic gull-wing doors, it's all about light, it's all about experience. They intend to make just close to 10,000 of them over time to match the number of the DMC-12s, with the first 88 being special editions with unique touches as well. But you've got this full door for entry both to the front and the rear, the 4-seat setup and cabin in here with a lot of lighting to really enhance the experience and to add the feel to the car as well. Good to see DeLorean back as a name on a car returning to production. It is rollout time, and this is where it's fascinating because I am listening to the Vayanne as it moves across the lawn here. It's got a lift system which, as you can see, is currently lifted, can raise about 3 centimeters. It's going to be very interesting to experience something like that. Acceleration like no other as it goes on towards that top speed. As you can see, there are lots of different cars now making their way out. Hennessey following through as well. I think I should be able to get behind the wheel of a Venom F5 before long. And believe me, I'm looking forward to experiencing that. It's everything you expect from Hennessey in Texas. Big noise, big power, big drama. The wheels, by the way, have the Hennessey and the Roadster designations on them, and even the H pattern in the spokes. You can see that H in the spokes, which represent the Hennessey logo. This is the Genesis Speedium, a concept presented a little earlier this year. You can see that light sequence, which reimagines the Genesis badge through the front. Light and exterior design, a very important element of this. If we come through, though, to have a look inside, take a look here, the asymmetric interior, the renewable materials being used. I want to show you this as well. If I tap the start button just here, that dome and orb curves over and we can see a little bit of this, leading towards the future of the design for Genesis. There are not many cars that cause you to step away from anything you are doing more than this. How often do you see a Ferrari 250 GTO being driven. Absolutely glorious. I'm savouring this moment. That sound of the V12. Wow. That sounds immense. Thunderous, high pitch. And look at this, the modern take on the tail light styling with a Riviera-inspired top-mounted wing that's active, auto skin with the doors. Well, that was pretty crazy. And now it is time for the CC850 to depart as it heads past the new Gunther Works that's here as well. Really cool to see what Gunther Works are doing with these cars. Reimagining the 911s. Lift system is up. My word. Sound and the feeling of that. Well, that pretty much brings us to the end of the day here at Pebble Beach at the Concours d'Elegance. We have seen some crazy new cars, some of the world's best hypercars, the new introductions like the Koenigsegg CC850, the Hennessey Venom F5 Roadster. We've checked out the Aston Martins, the McLaren Solus GT, and had a full look as well at the DEUS Vayanne, the most powerful production car in the world with 2,243 horsepower. I can't imagine what that would be like to drive. But thank you very much for all of your support. Thank you, as always, for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. But that's it for this time, as the Koenigsegg bubbles off in the background, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers!